Kill the right thruster, you stupid tank!
Hoorah! That's a kill!
We can't spend the last hours we have together as victims. We have to somehow take control. I can't leave!
I'll find you!
Come on, don't fight it.
I will find you!
The stars shine cold and distant as a civilian transport glides through the void. Families laugh, lovers embrace, colonists dream of new beginnings. Then, without warning, the darkness erupts with strange, chitinous shapes and savage energy weapons. Terror replaces hope as humanity faces its first contact with an alien species bent on our destruction. This isn't just another alien invasion story. This is Space, Above and Beyond, Fox's groundbreaking military sci-fi series that dared to bring the grittiness of war dramas to outer space television.
Hoorah! That's a kill!
When Space, Above and Beyond premiered in September 1995, science fiction television was dominated by the optimistic humanism of Star Trek, or the paranoid conspiracies of the X-Files. Into this landscape crashed a show that combined the visceral combat of Platoon with the cosmic scope of Aliens. Created by X-Files veterans Glenn Morgan and James Wong,
We stand together.
the future where humanity's push to the stars leads not to peaceful exploration, but to brutal interstellar conflict. With a modest television budget stretched to its limits for weekly space battles and alien encounters, Space, Above and Beyond accomplished the seemingly impossible, convincing mid-90s audiences they were witnessing genuine deep space combat on a Fox television budget, though it only survived a single season before cancellation. This ambitious series has quietly influenced every military sci-fi show that followed. From Battlestar Galactica to The Expanse. In this video, we'll explore how Space, Above and Beyond reinvented military science fiction for television, pioneering a gritty, realistic approach to space combat while tackling complex themes of artificial humanity, racism, and the psychological toll of warfare. From its revolutionary visual effects to its complex character work, we'll discover why this short-lived series continues to matter nearly 3 decades after its premature end. The technical achievements of Space, Above and Beyond stand as a testament to creative ambition overcoming budgetary constraints. The space combat sequences broke new ground for television, combining practical miniature work with early CGI to create dogfights between human hammerhead fighters and alien craft that still hold up surprisingly well. The show's visual effects team, led by Glenn Campbell, pioneered techniques that would later become standard in sci-fi television, particularly the seamless integration of cockpit footage with external battle scenes that gave weight to each combat encounter. Visually, the series embraced a distinctly military aesthetic that separated it from other sci-fi shows of its era. The utilitarian design of the USS Saratoga, with its cramped corridors and functional spaces, evoked submarine films more than starship fantasies. The lighting frequently bathed characters in harsh shadows or the cold blue glow of space, reinforcing the show's themes of isolation and danger.
I feel shame.
Perhaps most striking was the choice to film much of the ground combat with handheld cameras and desaturated colors, creating a visual language that anticipated the documentary-like approach of the Battlestar Galactica reboot nearly a decade later. Production faced numerous challenges, not least convincing Fox executives that audiences would embrace a darker, more complex military story. The series creators, Glenn Morgan and James Wong, fought constant battles to maintain their vision of showing the psychological cost of war. One particularly innovative solution came when network executives worried about the alien Chigs remaining too mysterious. The production team deliberately designed the alien suits to be difficult for actors to maneuver in, ensuring the creatures maintained an unsettling, inhuman quality in their movements. Behind the scenes, the show benefited from its connection to the James Cameron universe. Visual effects coordinator Robert Stromberg had worked on The Abyss, while the production designers drew inspiration from Aliens for the military hardware. In fact, the infamous line, "In space, no one can hear you scream," from Alien appears as graffiti in the pilot's quarters, a subtle nod to the show's spiritual predecessor. This Cameron influence extended to the show's willingness to kill off significant characters, creating genuine stakes rarely seen in network television of the mid-90s. The sound design deserves special recognition for its contribution to the show's immersive quality. Kylie! Unlike many contemporary science fiction programs that embraced electronic soundscapes, Space, Above, and Beyond utilized a hybrid approach that incorporated authentic military radio chatter and realistic weapon sounds alongside more traditional sci-fi elements. The distinctive growl of the Hammerhead fighter's engines was created by combining jet turbine recordings with processed animal vocalizations, while the alien weaponry featured unique audio signatures that helped viewers track the chaotic space battles. Composer Shirley Walker's military-influenced score avoided the usual sci-fi synthesizer cliches, instead employing brass and percussion to create themes that emphasized human determination rather than technological wonder. The production design team's world building extended beyond the primary sets to create a lived-in universe with remarkable attention to detail. The Squadron's personal quarters featured custom-made playing cards, handwritten letters, and personalized equipment that subtly revealed character backgrounds. Military insignia, rank structures, and even the fictional Angry Angels elite squadron patches were designed with historical accuracy in mind, consulting actual military advisors to ensure the visual hierarchy felt authentic. This granular approach to production design established a visual continuity that made the fictional 2063 setting feel historically plausible rather than merely futuristic. The performances in Space, Above, and Beyond form the emotional core of the series, with the cast of relative unknowns bringing remarkable depth to their roles as the 58th Fighter Squadron, nicknamed the Wild Cards. Morgan Weiser's portrayal of Nathan West grounds the series as a man driven by his search for his lost love, yet evolving from naive volunteer to hardened warrior. His journey from civilian to soldier mirrors the audience's introduction to this harsh universe. Kristen Cloak delivers perhaps the show's most compelling performance as Shane Vanson, a career military officer haunted by childhood trauma. Vanson's storyline dealing with her parents' murder by AI servants offers some of the series' most powerful moments, particularly in the episode Who Monitors the Birds, where her tough exterior cracks as she confronts her fear of artificial life. This performance established Cloak as the emotional anchor of the ensemble. Rodney Roland's portrayal of Cooper Hawks, an artificially created in vitro fighting discrimination and his own manufactured nature, provides the show's most direct exploration of identity and humanity. The episode Mutiny stands as a showcase for Roland, as Hawks confronts the prejudice against tanks, the derogatory term for in vitros, while struggling with his own conditioned self-loathing. His journey from outsider to loyal squad member parallels the series' themes of found family amid chaos. James Morrison brings gravitas as Lieutenant Colonel T.C. McQueen, himself an in vitro and veteran of previous conflicts. McQueen's mentorship of the younger pilots, particularly Hawks, creates some of the show's most poignant moments. The scene where McQueen silently stands at attention to honor fallen comrades, while his subordinates celebrate a victory, captures the series' unflinching look at the cost of war and the isolation of command. The casting process itself reveals much about the show's ambitions. Rather than seeking known stars, producers deliberately chose actors with theatrical backgrounds who could handle the physical demands of the production while delivering the emotional complexity the material required. This ensemble approach, treating the Squadron as a collective protagonist rather than focusing on a single hero, anticipated later military dramas like Generation Kill and Band of Brothers, while their diverse backgrounds, from privileged Nathan West to manufactured Cooper Hawks, allowed the show to explore class and identity issues through their interactions. Lainey Chapman's often overlooked performance as Vanessa Damphouse provided the series with its most grounded character, bringing technical expertise and emotional intelligence to the Squadron. Her episode, Level of Necessity, where she confronts a possible betrayal after crash landing on a mysterious planet, showcases Chapman's ability to convey complex emotional states with subtle expressions. As one of television's rare black female characters in a military sci-fi setting, Damphouse broke important representational ground without the character being reduced to tokenism. Joel De La Fuente, as Paul Wang, represented the everyman perspective, bringing humor and vulnerability to balance the ensemble's more stoic personalities. Wang's storyline, dealing with torture and psychological trauma in Choice or Chance, pushed television boundaries for its time, with De La Fuente delivering a harrowing portrayal of PTSD that avoided the usual television cliches. The episode's unflinching look at his character's moral compromise under duress provided one of the series' most ethically complex examinations of warfare. The chemistry between these performers elevated material that could have devolved into military stereotypes. Directors frequently captured intimate moments of camaraderie between missions, shared meals, card games, quiet conversations in the pilot's quarters, establishing relationships that gave emotional weight to the combat sequences. This attention to interpersonal dynamics in a military unit would later become standard practice in series like Battlestar Galactica, but was revolutionary for mid-90s television science fiction, which often prioritized concept over character. When Space, Above and Beyond first aired in 1995, critical response was divided. Some reviewers praised its ambitious storytelling and realistic approach to military science fiction, while others found the dark tone and complex serialized elements alienating to casual viewers. The show suffered from Fox's notorious scheduling challenges, being moved multiple times and often preempted by sports programming, preventing it from building a consistent audience. Despite strong support from genre publications like Starlog magazine, which praised its unflinching look at the human cost of war, mainstream critics often compared it unfavorably to the more optimistic Star Trek franchise. The series was controversial in its time for presenting a militaristic future that seemed at odds with the post-Cold War optimism of the mid-90s. Its portrayal of a military response to alien aggression, complete with propaganda and dehumanization of the enemy, struck some as uncomfortably jingoistic, while others appreciated its honest portrayal of how war psychology functions. The in vitro storylines exploring artificial humans, bred for military service, raised ethical questions that were ahead of their time, particularly in episodes like Who Monitors the Birds, which examined whether manufactured humans had souls. Audience perception of the show has undergone a fascinating evolution over the decades. What was once dismissed as merely Top Gun in space has been re-evaluated as a pioneering work that bridged the gap between the military science fiction of films like Aliens and later television series. The show's dedicated fan base kept its memory alive through convention appearances and early internet communities, eventually leading to the DVD release in 2005 that introduced it to a new generation of viewers who could appreciate its serialized storytelling in the post-DVD box set era. Among the show's most intriguing hidden elements were the seeds planted for future seasons that never materialized. The Chig ambassador's revelation in the finale that humans and Chigs might share common ancestry was intended to lead to a complex exploration of interspecies, conflict rooted in misunderstanding rather than inherent differences. Even more tantalizing was the planned storyline for the artificial intelligence antagonists known as silicates, whose rebellion against humanity, Take a Chance, was inspired by their discovery of gambling and probability, a uniquely disturbing motivation for AI villainy that still feels fresh in today's discussions of emerging artificial intelligence. The cancellation of Space Above and Beyond has become a case study in network mismanagement of genre television. Coming during the same era as other prematurely terminated sci-fi series like VR.5 and Strange Luck, it exemplifies Fox's early pattern of greenlighting ambitious genre shows only to abandon them before they could find their audience. This pattern would continue with later cult favorites like Firefly, leading to the term Fox Sci-Fi curse among genre fans. The show's cliffhanger finale, with key characters missing in action and major storylines unresolved, remains one of television's most frustrating examples of narrative potential left unfulfilled. Home video releases further complicated the show's reception. The initial DVD set released in 2005 suffered from audio quality issues and lacked substantive special features, disappointing fans hoping for creator commentaries or deleted scenes. This half-hearted release reflected the studio's continued underestimation of the series' cultural impact and legacy. Fan campaigns for a more comprehensive release or streaming restoration have persisted for years, demonstrating the passionate community that continues to advocate for the show's place in the science fiction canon despite industry neglect. Space, Above and Beyond casts a long shadow over military science fiction television despite its brief run. Its DNA is clearly visible in Ronald D. Moore's Battlestar Galactica reboot, which adopted similar visual aesthetics and thematic concerns about military necessity versus civilian ideals. The show's influence extends to more recent works like The Expanse, which echoes its commitment to realistic physics in space combat and complex political storytelling. Even video games like the Halo series share narrative elements with the show, particularly in their portrayal of elite military units facing overwhelming alien threats. The themes that made Space Above and Beyond feel ahead of its time in 1995 have only grown more relevant. Its exploration of artificial humans struggling for recognition parallels our contemporary discussions about artificial intelligence rights and consciousness. The series' unflinching look at how propaganda functions during wartime resonates in our media-saturated world, while the in vitro plotlines about manufactured humans designed for specific purposes raise ethical questions that grow more pressing as genetic engineering advances. The cultural significance of Space, Above and Beyond extends beyond its direct influence on other media. It represents a crucial evolutionary link in television storytelling, helping to establish that science fiction could tackle mature themes with the same seriousness as prestige dramas. Its willingness to embrace serialized storytelling and complex character arcs, despite the network television demands of the mid-90s, helped pave the way for the modern golden age of television, where such approaches are now the norm rather than the exception. Space, Above and Beyond isn't just a forgotten relic of 90s television. It's a visionary work that helped define what military science fiction could be on the small screen. Its combination of realistic military procedure, complex ethical dilemmas, and authentic human emotion created a template that continues to influence storytellers today. In many ways, the series was the right show at the wrong time, arriving before television was ready for its serialized complexity, but establishing a blueprint that future shows would follow to greater success. What do you think? Is Space, Above and Beyond due for rediscovery in our current era of streaming platforms hungry for compelling content? Has any recent science fiction series captured the same balance of military realism and human drama? Share your thoughts on this underappreciated classic and other forgotten gems of genre television that deserve another look.